It's a lot of fun.
Most of us won't be here, but hopefully they will.
Alright, we'll get all this stuff tomorrow. Alright. Welcome. There we go. I know, right? Good evening. Welcome to Buchser 5th grade incoming parent night. I am Justin Ponzio. I am the principal of Buchser Middle School, and I am so incredibly glad that you are all here tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us tonight. Tonight you're going to meet literally every single one of the 6th grade teachers next year. You are going to be introduced to some of our support staff. You are also going to be introduced to some families who very much last year were in your same position. So I want to say that the Buchser community is an amazing community. I cannot tell you about how many times, in fact, if we were to raise our hands, are there any graduates of Buchser in the audience right now? Yes. So it is amazing to have people who spent their own educational experience at Buchser, to have your kids coming back to Buchser. We love Buchser. I love being the principal here at Buchser. I love working with the staff who are dedicated to your children's success. And it is so amazing to see how we all as a community can help our students really grow and thrive. I do want to take a little bit of time to also introduce some folks. We have one of our fabulous vice principals, Miss Danielle Ash. We have in the back our 6th grade counselor, Miss Dr. Marcy Van Horn. And also, speaking of parents, I also have our PTSA president, Nicole, who's going to come up and say a few words with the PTSA group right now about all of the things that PTSA is doing to support the students here at Buchser.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all so much for taking the time to be here tonight. We are very excited to have you here. My name is Nicole, and I have a 6th grade son here at Buchser and a college daughter at West Valley. And this year, they were looking for a PTSA president, and I decided to take on this role because after going through back to school night and seeing all of the classrooms and coming to all of the parent meetings, I was like, this is an amazing school. This is what I want to be, this is definitely something I want to be a part of. I hadn't taken a PTSA executive board role before, but after being here and spending time here, I knew that that was something I wanted to do. It's been a great place. We are building our PTSA back again after COVID. If you've come from one of the feeder schools, you'll know that it's usually PTA. We are adding, starting in middle school, and we add in the students, that's the S part. So we also want our students to be a part of it as well. They can be individual members or family members. So this is some of our awesome board, and they're going to take a turn to say hi too. So.
Hi, I'm Julie Greenwood, and I'm the Ways and Means. I came in as president during the pandemic. It was kind of strange. I was president, even though I never stepped foot on the campus. And I can just say that it's very rewarding. It's a good way to get to know the staff and the students and other parents, and also no experience is required. And we're all very supportive, and there's tons of training resources, and a lot of us are leaving. Like my daughter, like Ted is my husband, who's also the treasurer, is graduating, and so we have some other folks that will be leaving because their students are graduating. And we're still going to be around and available for communication to help out and train and answer any questions. So if you're interested, come talk to Nicole or any of us.
I'm Sarah Gott. I'm the secretary. I have a 7th grader, so I will be leaving next year. And I have a sophomore at Santa Clara High. And it's really a nice group to be a part of. And it's nice to see the
I'm Ted Greenwood. I'm married to Julie, and I got roped into this a couple of years ago when Julie needed to move out of the president role. So I've been the treasurer for a couple of years. I have 0 PTA or PTSA experience. It's pretty straightforward what we do. It's a great way to connect the programs that the kids do with some fundraising, get to know some more parents, get to know the staff. You know, I also didn't set foot on campus much, and it's got me a little bit more involved in our daughter's life and what she does here. So, and lots of training and lots of help if anyone's interested in coming in and doing the same thing.
Definitely. So one of the things that you'll notice as you come into middle school is that the volunteer opportunities change a lot. It's not so much being in the classrooms, going on field trips, leading reading groups, things like that. So this PTSA here is a great way to get involved and to be a part of it and to also connect with the other parents, because middle school is a very interesting time. So we can all be in this together, we learn from each other, and we support each other and the students and the staff. So we have sign-up sheets in the back, and I promise that is not roping anybody into an executive board position. That is just to get information. You're not committed to doing anything. But if you would like to get your name on the email list, we do have it back there, and you can sign up. So thank you guys. Welcome.
Yes, so I just want to say that I truly and we truly value parent participation here, and we really want families to be involved in their students' lives. We value it. We want to hear from you. We've sent out a survey this year to our current parents and families and caregivers to get information about how we can do more to really connect caregivers with this community in Buchser Middle School as well. Additionally, again, my kids are not yet in middle school, but I am still thinking about it too. Is that after school care, we have Miss Sophia, who is here from YMCA. So if you're interested in after school care for your student, please make sure to touch base with her as well. But I am certainly not the star of the show. It's our teachers, it's our staff. So I'm going to hand it over to our 6th grade counselor, Ms. Van Horn, who is going to share with you information about this evening, and then we're going to get you into the classroom so that you can see and feel and experience what it was like to be in 6th grade again. So thank you so much for being here. We will be around as well to help answer any questions that we possibly can. So thank you so much, and Ms. Van Horn.
All right, thank you. Well, good evening, and I'm glad you're here. We have not had this event in so long. Every year I sit up here, I have a slide deck, I read my cards. Nobody wants to hear me talk for an hour. I don't even want to hear myself. So we've mixed it up this year, and all of you should have some sort of, per family, a color-coded kind of agenda with a schedule. So you are going to be a 6th grader. I'm going to put you back. Remember those awkward years. Remember those awkward times. We're putting you back in the classroom to be more face-to-face with teachers and kind of go through a typical 6th grade day. But before you go, Buchser is unique in the sense that we have a very special 6th grade philosophy. We pride ourselves in being a school within a school. And you'll notice most of your classes will be in the B quad. It is 6th grade only. With the exception of science, which all of you will visit today to see kind of a typical 6th grade classroom, things blow up in science. I would prefer to have that wing blow up than the B quad. So that is why 6th grade is separate. And so we thought it would be really unique to kind of have you travel to the B quad and then also see a science 6th grade classroom. Additionally, we know it's a transition year. I actually taught at Pomeroy for about 7.5 years before I became a school counselor here at Buchser. And 5th grade is different. You have one class, you have your own desk, you kind of stay with your class. And so we know that that year is special. You're like top dog. Well, now, unfortunately, don't tell your 6th graders this. And if you're in here right now, 5th graders, it's okay. I'm sorry, you got to go back down. You're now middle dog. Totally fine. Don't panic. I get a lot of 6th graders who get very, very nervous, like, oh my gosh, everybody's so much bigger. It's okay. Those 8th graders will want 6th graders too. So, with that, 6th grade is unique. You start to smell. Puberty. And I see you laughing because you remember. And at Buchser, we know that there is a lot of social, emotional growing and learning. And I'll be honest, I'm a middle school counselor. Academics, great. I love it. We're also here to make friends, right? So the sixth grade teachers do integrate a lot of SEL curriculum into their core content, and you'll be able to meet them in the classroom. I'm going fast because I got 4 minutes before I got to send you out to your classes. This is a typical sixth grade day. I think it's pretty much in line with what you have now in the district. And so I just wanted you to know that lunch is separate. Sixth graders do have lunch. They have a whole quad to themselves. When you get to 7th and 8th grade, sorry, you have to share. But it's nice that sixth graders get to be together. In addition, they do travel collectively. So I know the traditional model that I went to middle school is you were on your own. Find your 6 classes, good luck. Find your 6 teachers, good luck. But here at Buchser, the 6th grade year is you only have about 3 to 4 teachers, and you travel as a pod. And I always tell 6th graders, or soon to be 6th graders, if you're lost, find somebody in your pod, follow them. You will be lost together, and that is okay. So, I know you probably have a ton of questions, and I didn't want to I want to be able to answer them all, but I also want to be able to direct you to the correct person. So I created a QR code that is also on your color-coded paper. They're also posted in the classroom, and they're also posted throughout the presentation that you will see in the various classes. If you have a question, feel free to use the QR code. It'll be directed to me, and then I'll be able to kind of figure out who needs to answer it. More than likely, it'll be me, so nice to meet you all. With that being said, for tonight's event, you will notice that you have a color-coded schedule. And it's broken up by period, so my voice will come on the loudspeaker dismissing you to period. We do have some tour guides, our web leaders that you will meet. They're 8th grade students. However, one is sick, so I do have a teacher doing it, but that's fine, she'll be fine. And they will escort you class to class. So by looking at your schedule, you all should have a period 1. It could be math, it could be ELA, it could be reading, PE, Explore, Science, and Social Studies. It does have the room number. If you open it in the program, there is a map. Go ahead and kind of identify that first period. And the first session period is going to start at 6:35. In true middle school style, you have 5 minutes to get to class. If you're late, I know what you're doing. But I'm going to give you a 2-minute head start because I know it's fun to see people and chit chat. But you do have about 6 minutes to get to your first period. The B quad is going to be out and to your right. If you're in science, raise your hand. You got C6. You're going to be directly across. I'm going to give you 6 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and break off, and I'm going to have the real presenters present to you. I will be out. Nice to meet you. Good luck and have fun in your first period.
Well, welcome to Buchser. My name is Ms. King, and I am on the Panda team. And
I am Kenny Slowinski. I am on the Sharks team.
So we're 2 6th grade teachers here, and we're going to talk to you about what a PE/Explore day would look like. So that would be, PE is every other day for 6th graders. So they would get, he's going to talk about PE, and then they would get Explore on the other day. Explore or band orchestra. So if your child wants to go into music, they have band and orchestra on one day, PE on the other. If they don't do the music route, then they would do an Explore activity. And these are some examples of what we do this year and what we've done in the past. So it's for students that are not in band or orchestra, and it's their elective. In 7th and 8th, they'll have a chance to choose, but in 6th grade, they Explore that the teacher is teaching. And that can vary depending on the teacher, but we all cover SEL, so socio-emotional learning. We use a program called Second Step. It kind of gets them used to 6th grade, talks about all the changes, talks about bullying, healthy relationships with their classmates, things like that, SEL classes. We do art. We have projects that connect to their social studies classes. So if you look in the back there, you can see some of the activities we've done in Explore. So some cave art, panda picture because we're the panda team. We did an activity, a whole unit on wonder. So that's what those pictures are that have parts of the face missing. We did some bullying posters.
All right, everyone, it is now first period.
You're off and running.
We're ambitious.
Maybe they were the accelerated class. So, and then we did some activities on winter holidays around the world. So kind of a lot of different things going on up there. Other things that are possible, logic games, readers theater, and then theme activities. One of them, for example, is called Squishy Circuits. So Mr. Slinsky, you want to flip it to the next? So this is what I was mentioning at the beginning, A-Day, B-Day. So right now, second period is PE/Explore. That may change, but for this year, it's second period. So on A-Days, for my students, they have PE. So every place you see an A, that's PE day. It's every other day. And then they have band or orchestra on the opposite day, or they have Explore on the opposite day. It takes the students a little bit of time to get used to this situation, but once they're dialed in, they're good to go. And they don't have PE every day like they do in 7th or 8th grade. So that's kind of a typical schedule where it's an A-Day, B-Day. When there's a day off, like this week we had Monday off, it doesn't count as anything, right? So my class had A on Friday, nothing Monday, B on Tuesday. Okay, we'll get you go ahead and chat about PE.
All right, again, welcome. I'm Kenny Slowinski, Go Bobcats. I'll be talking about physical education, otherwise known as PE. And here at Buchser, we have 4 objectives: safety, good sportsmanship, exercise, and having fun. We incorporate all of those things in all of the activities that you see up there. So, you know, we encourage our students to take PE as seriously as they would math or social studies or reading. That improves the brain, PE improves the body. We want to think of the whole child with our experience here at Buchser. The one activity that I do want to point out is the Bobcat Mile. That is done every other week. So if your child has PE on, if their run day is on a Tuesday, then every other Tuesday they'll be running, okay? And they'll certainly let you know. So some things that you can do to prepare them for that is maybe chase after them and make them run. You know, maybe have them ride their bike. Just certain things that they can condition them to be ready to run the mile. The mile is here on our track. It's 5 times around. So it's not exactly a mile, I think, but that's why we call it Bobcat Mile, because it's our mile. But that's done every other week. It's also important to know that 6th grade students are required to have 200 minutes of PE within every 10 school days. Right now we exceed that because 200 minutes equals 4 classes. We actually have 5 PE classes within 10 days for it being every other day. So we are in compliance and we are beyond that with the extra class time for PE. There are no PE uniforms for 6th graders, so you don't have to worry about that. That starts in 7th grade and goes into 8th grade. We just ask that on their PE days that they wear appropriate shoes. Sneakers or tennis shoes would be great for that.
So as I said earlier, your child can choose to do band or orchestra in place of exploratory. So it's one or the other, and it's every other day. So band, orchestra, and then if not, then those are just some other examples of things that have happened in exploratory. We talked about art. We did have an animation program a couple of years ago. We do some tech things, and then the math enrichment as well, like the logic games. So your child will have to decide ahead of time whether they want to do band, orchestra, or exploratory. However, if they're unsure, they can change their mind. They can make the change early on in the school year. We do prefer that they don't make the change back out, you know, mid-year, if at all possible. So if they're going to commit to band and orchestra, it's really great. They have concerts in the winter and then in the spring. And so it's a wonderful outlet if your child is into music and playing an instrument.
Okay. Next up, we have clubs and after-school activities. If you take a look at that list there, Glee Club, World Club, Queer Club, Games, Photography Club, those are all the clubs and activities that we have in place right now. Now, next year it may be a little different, it may be the same, but generally those are the types of clubs that we have offered for all of our students here at Buchser. In addition, we have homework clubs. They are generally run by the classroom teacher, whether it's during their lunch period or after school. Lunch Bunch is run by Dr. Van Horn, our 6th grade counselor, and I think that's done on a weekly basis as well. After school sports, if we have a new sport coming up, it will be announced during the announcements in the mornings, and I think it will also be posted on our web page as well, so look out for that. Because they're always asking when's soccer or when's basketball, and that will all be posted for you. YMCA, we'll talk about that a little bit later. WEB stands for Where Every Bobcat Belongs, and that's run by 8th grade students to help with different various activities throughout the year. Most importantly, our 6th grade orientation. It's usually the day before school starts, where the incoming 6th graders meet up. The web leaders do activities with them. They acquaint them with the school, with what's expected, and just a really, really fun day. So I highly suggest you send your child to the orientation day because it's very, very beneficial. And the web leaders do a great job with that. And then lastly, we have the ASB program, which is our Associated Student Body, which is basically our leadership program. And that's for all grades, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So if your child has leadership abilities and skills that you would like them to perform, have them be a part of the ASB program when they come here for 6th grade.
Can I ask a quick question? Can you explain what GAINS is?
GAINS is girls achieving in non-traditional subjects.
Thank you.
And our last slide, just to give you information on if you have an interest in getting your child in an after-school program at the Y here. This is the information. Feel free to take a screenshot if you'd like. I think she had a table set up outside the cafeteria for you to meet her if that's something that you are interested in. We do have a good program here where they have homework time and then free play time, and then also they do other things like cooking and art and other enrichment programs after school. There is a scan, what's this thing called?
A QR code?
Thank you, the QR code over there. If you have specific questions that we didn't address for this class, now you're going to, of course, move around in a few minutes as if you were your student and learn other information on the other subject areas. But if you have a specific question, you can put it in there. And we also have candy if you have an interest there. Do we have anything else that are we good?
I think that's it.
We all are covering kind of just little bits and pieces of a typical 6th grade day. And since I started early, we're done a little bit early.
Yeah, so you'll have a math section, a social studies section as well, so.
Yeah, laying darts.
Welcome to Buchser. My name is Celia Biggs, and I have been at Buchser for 25 years, and I teach math on the Griffin team. It was 6 years ago that I was sitting in the same seat you were, trying to figure out where I was going to place my child at middle school. After looking at all the possibilities, I chose Buchser Middle School, and I haven't regretted my decision. She is currently at Mission Early College High School. She's a junior, and she's doing really well. I say this because I want you to know that whatever decision you make, it will be the right decision for you and your family. And it will get better, parents, I promise. With that said, let's talk a little bit about our 6th grade math curriculum. So we have 5 standards that are set by the state of California. And these are the standards that all 6th graders should know once they leave the 6th grade. But these are umbrella standards. Underneath these standards are even more standards. So like under the number systems, we have fractions, decimals, and percents. And even under those, we have multiplying and dividing of fractions, multiplying and dividing of decimals, adding and subtracting of decimals. So there are a lot of little standards and little concepts that we will need to look at for 6th grade. This is across the district. The other thing that's across the district is our pacing guide. This was developed with teachers from all of the middle schools. And so we are consistent within our pacing guide. What do we do first? What concept do we teach second? And this is important. If a student leaves one middle school and goes to another, we need to have some consistency. But with that being said, we value our students in our classrooms first and what's best for kids. So if individually, if I feel like my class needs an extra week on a specific concept, I will stop and take that week. And so the book is there. We put the book out for you, so if you want to take a look, there's a volume 1 and a volume 2. Students will get both volumes, and they're pretty hefty, but what's nice is that it's also online for any students. So I've talked a lot about what is kind of the same across the district, and my colleague is going to start to talk to you about what's really special about Buchser Middle School.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Caitlin Mahoney. I teach math and reading on the Panda team. I've been here at Buchser for 20 years. I consider the 6th grade team part of my Buchser family. I feel very fortunate to be here and have the colleagues that I do. One of the things that Buchser really stress to their students is that we want all of our students to have a growth mindset when it comes to their learning. And this is through all the different academic areas. But most important, sometimes students have a fixed mindset when it comes to math, and I might hear something like, I'm not good at math, or I can't do this certain type of problem. And in 6th grade and throughout Buchser, we really try to change that mindset and teach students that anyone can be successful and that we all learn from our mistakes, and mistakes grow our brain, and that it's okay to be challenged, because when you're challenged, you are going to be more successful in the future. And so it's something that we make sure to stress in all subject areas, but a lot in math, just because of some of the students' previous experiences with math in their belief systems. So if we hear something, they're doing group work and we hear like a negative comment or something, we might like remind the students about having a growth mindset, remind them, we have posters on our walls, don't say that, try this sentence or that sentence instead, just to make sure that we truly believe that all students can be successful and that they just need to have that confidence in themselves. Next, we're going to go on talk about a little bit about the district online program.
All right, hi there. I'm Natalie Torres. I am one of the math teachers here at Buchser. This is my 8th year teaching here, and I do support 3 of the 6th grade teams. Two of the 6th grade teams. Seems like a lot. I do teach math. I also teach reading and other subjects, but I want to focus on iReady, which your 5th graders currently use the program, so I know parents, you are familiar. But what we like about the program is that it's a differentiated instruction. So as the students are using the program, the questions will fluctuate based on what they know. As teachers, we get that data of where they are succeeding, and we can celebrate that, but we can also see where there are deficits. It might be in adding with some decimals, maybe regrouping with subtraction, and in our math class we can do small group instruction to remediate those splinter skills so that the students could go on to grade level proficiency. We do 2 diagnostics a year. One is in August when your students begin, just to see where they are. It's not for placement, it's not for anything else other than our information, and we give that information to you in a printout. I know you guys get that information. We just had in this month, we had our 2nd diagnostic to see where the growth is and what the students still need to do to get to their stretch growth. If you explore the iReady, you can see where the program wants them to get so that it could lead up to grade proficiency, grade level. The difference between a typical growth and the stretch growth, the typical growth is the average growth of a sixth grader. And for the stretch growth, sorry, I got that wrong. The same grade, stretch growth is more than a typical growth for the same grade and placement. It's designed to get your students to catch up. So this is where we use that data to help your students succeed to make that. Our district policy, we like our students to do 40 minutes of iReady math a week on Fridays. If they don't get in those minutes, it resets, so when they come back on Monday, they got to start back at 0. So we want to encourage the students to do 20 minutes at home or on their own here at school, but we also embed it in our classroom. We give 20 minutes a week for the students, and also for homework, the district wants students to do an hour.
No more than an hour.
More than an hour of
No
homework.
more.
No more than an hour.
No more.
However, we would like our students to do 20 minutes of homework a night.
Of math.
Of math. And you guys will get parent reports so that you know where your students are, and if you have any further questions, you can contact your teacher at that time and say, how can I get my student to grow from where they're having problems in that specific domains that Ms. Biggs had introduced at the beginning. Thank you.
My name is Tracy Chandrasekhar, which is a really long name. With students, I just go by Mrs. C. I am a teacher on the Shark team. I've been here at Buchser, 8 going on 9. I'll round it up to 10 in 10 years. I'd like to talk to you about our Buchser Middle School math placemats. You see a couple copies are out on the student tables right now. It was created by our Buchser math department, and it's a common resource that is used in our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade classes. So they use it throughout their career here at Buchser. A goal of our placemat is to help our students build a common vocabulary throughout their classes. So when a teacher says, show me your evidence, they know I want them to show me their mathematical work to support their answer. And if I say, we're going to make a model about this, they know that I'm asking them to give me a visual example to back it up. So give me a graph or a data table to show your thinking. Additionally, in our math classes, we really focus on building their math discussion skills through our math talks. And this is a way for them to talk with each other and build their ideas and common understanding. So they might say things like, I agree with, when they need it. This is a really key goal for us at Buchser to build our math thinking and discussion skills, as well as our academic vocabulary throughout our classes. I've also been asked to talk about another thing at Wellness Center. You walked right by the Wellness Center when you came from the cafeteria to here. At our Wellness Center, it's run by our wellness coordinator, Mr. Schaefer, and his team of health interns and trainees. They work individually with students and staff, as well as provide trainings on health and well-being. Also, our Wellness Center is an inclusive space that's open to everyone from shy to outgoing. During lunches, it's a great hangout spot. Those chairs are so comfy. I asked our students to share their perspective on the Wellness Center with you. I don't have time to read them all, but I'll read my favorite. The Wellness Center is a magical place. When you get in there, it changes your mood, hopefully for the better. If you'd like some more info, I put a bit.ly there. But thank you so much for coming.
I am Miss Ely. This is my classroom. I am the 6th grade. I teach science and history or social studies this year.
And I'm Caroline Sloan, and I teach science. And I'm Debbie Buchser, and I teach math and social studies.
All right, so science and history. It's exciting for a lot of students because this is the first time that they're getting both subjects every day for a set amount of time. So it's a big transition for a lot of students that, wait, I get to do science every day, I get to do history every day. So it can be super exciting if one of those is their favorite subject. For science, we are NGSS aligned, which is the Next Generation Science Standards. What that means is that instead of 6th grade being earth science, 7th grade being life science, 8th grade being physical science, they're all mixed. So in 6th grade, we cover cells and inheritance, which are of course life science. We also cover energy, which is physical science. And then we talk about currents and weather, which is earth science. And we talk about how life interacts with earth. It's kind of that bigger lens that it's not an isolated one kind of genre of science. Within that science, both teachers do require, because they are spending almost an hour every day, we use an interactive notebook. So we'll ask for students to have a notebook specifically for science. This becomes where they do all of their work for the year. They're taking all their notes, they're doing all their labs, they're collecting all their data, they're doing all of their writing, they're doing all of their things in that notebook so that it's contained all in one spot for that one subject. And so that when they get done at the end of the year, it's almost like they've created their own science textbook with their knowledge and understanding of what they learned.
They are so proud of that notebook. They don't lose that notebook. It's amazing. So, because they have basically created it, yeah.
So it's definitely a source of pride. Social studies, a lot of teachers may also ask for a separate notebook for social studies. Again, so they can get everything glued into one spot. It's a little bit better than a binder because things fall off the rings, they forget to put it in. The notebook, we glue it in, it's there, and as long as they don't lose the notebook, they have all that information. I call it history because science and social science gets me all thrown off. For history, we teach ancient civilizations, so we start with early humans, and we move on to Egypt, India, China, Greece, and Rome, kind of covering information about those different civilizations that rose. Another major change for 6th grade is the amount of reading and having to read and comprehend expository text. Hopefully you've heard that word before at the elementary level. It's that fact-based text. They have to read, they have to learn, they have to pull those facts out and make sense of them in both of those subjects. So if your student isn't a strong reader, this can be really difficult for some of them, and you might find that they need a little bit more support in reading and understanding how to pull those facts out. Both subjects also require a lot of writing, which these students may be writing once a day about either science or social studies or for English. Now they're having to write 2 or 3 times a day and multiple paragraphs, and that can be very overwhelming for them because that's a new transition. So it's no longer, oh, well, we're in 5th grade and so we're going to do a science lesson and then you're going to write about it during writing time. Or we're going to read about a social studies thing and that's going to count as our social studies and our reading for today. Instead, they're going to have to do those things in each of the separate classes. So it can get a little bit overwhelming. So if you find your students struggling, definitely reach out, figure out ways to support them because that is a big change for a lot of them. And it takes a little bit of endurance building.
Okay, my turn. So I'm going to talk about communication. Let me get the slide. So obviously our website, I'll go into that in just a second. Also email is one of the best ways to get in touch with the teacher and the students. We have to teach them how to email us instead of, hey, yo, teacher, I need this or I need that. We tell them how to politely email and how to not use it like a text, right? And then to be specific about what they need or want, okay? So email. Then there's the agenda. They take this home every night. Some teachers only use it for homework or finishing what work that needs to be finished from class. Some people put all the assignments for the day in it, but you'll have a record of what they've done in each class, okay, or what they might need to do that night. And then there is Google Classroom. I'll show you that too as well. I'm sure you've seen that, but that is a great place to find the assignments, find out what they're doing in either science, social science, math, whatever. All teachers post in that. Okay, and then letter grades, Aries, parent and student portal. Let me just go ahead and go to the website here. Oh, here's website. Okay, I'll go into that really quickly. So here is a link for parents and students to register for Aries. Aries is our new grade book. We used to have School Loop. Now we're using Aries. It's both for attendance and for grades. And this year, another transition is they get actual letter grades. A, B, C, D, F, instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4 that many of you are used to. Teachers, we are working with grading for equity, trying to make grading more equitable. So teachers are kind of working with, some teachers more standards-based, some teachers doing the traditional way, but we're trying to figure a way to make it more equitable. And Aries, parents have access to it, students have access to it, they just have to register. Okay, so you can see their grades at all times. Also, another great communication piece, which teachers are piloting this year, is called Parent Square. Pull that up here. And you may have heard of this, but this is a great way to connect with the district and your school. And there's like ways to email in that Parent Square. There are places I think you could upload pictures, or there's a lot of information at this site. And the district really is trying to make this our key communication piece. Teachers are still learning how to use it. So I know I've gotten a couple of Parent Square emails, but I'm not quite sure sometimes how to email back. So I don't know why I'm having a hard time with it. Maybe just because I had to learn so much this year. So it's been an interesting, with Aries was all new to us as well. So it's been interesting, but I think Parent Square is going to be great communication. Yeah. Okay, you ready? Okay. Over to you. Oh, wait, click on one. Yeah, go ahead. This is her computer. She knows it. There you go.
Okay, last thing. We have a really fun activity. It's about a week before school starts. It's called Track the Cat. And it's important that you have your current email on file with your child. Wherever they're attending school for 5th grade, make sure they have your current email. The email will come to you, and it'll be in the form of an invitation for your child. It's a full day of games and tours, school tours, and they have lunch here. The 8th graders conduct it. The kids are broken into small pods, and so they have friends. Like they don't just, like, oh, I kind of know that person. They know names. They really get acquainted because they're together all day long. So then when they do come to school that first day of school, they're going to see people that they know. So it's just really important, especially, all of them are nervous. All of them are nervous. But if your child is coming to this school like brand new, like they came from outside our district, it's really important that they come that day. So then they really do have some friends. Because most of you are coming from bigger schools, and they'll have, 10 friends that they know. But it's still, it's very, very nerve-wracking for them, especially the first couple of days. And this really just calms them, and they know where they're going. They know where the science building is. They know where the 6th grade quad is. They know where the cafeteria is. They'll take them all out to all the different PE fields. We have all different places that we have PE. So this is just a really fun thing to kind of look forward to.
And they'll do some activities, different activities during the year too.
Yeah.
And we have a web here. What do you like about web?
What I like about web is getting to know the new 6th graders, and new 6th graders, if they feel comfortable not talking to themselves, they always come to their web leaders. And I like getting to know the new kids coming onto the school.
Narrative writing is one of the kinds of writing that we do in 6th grade. Narrative means it tells us we can do that. So we start by learning about the story arc. The story arc is a common pattern that stories follow, where there's some exposition at the beginning, we learn about our character and start to care about them, and then there's a big problem, and the character has to go through some trials and steps to try to solve the problem, culminating in a climactic moment where something really exciting happens for them to solve their problem, and then there's falling action and resolution where all the loose ends get tied up. It's such a common pattern. It's good to look at and recognize it. And then they try writing some of stories like that. One of the things I did this fall was a Post-it note story, where when they had the idea of the story, or my students had to write a story that followed that pattern that was so short that it would fit on a Post-it note. So they found out how small they can write, but they had that pattern down so they could write a very short story that went with it. Another kind of narrative writing is a personal narrative. Those are stories that tell, stories you tell from your personal life. So something true about you. And there's different formats. You can tell short stories, long stories, anecdotes, all kinds of things. And then there's also fictional narrative, which is obviously all made up from your imagination. And that was a lot of fun. This fall or this winter, we wrote fictional narratives in my classes where we, sorry, I'm out of breath now, where I gave them a very structured format so they could follow along. We created a character. Each of them created their own character, gave that character attributes and characteristics, and then we gave that character a problem situation and then a setting in which to solve that problem and so on. And these were some of their finished products that I wanted to show you. Their beautiful artwork. They published their books like this with the sparkly duct tape. Admire my sparkly duct tape, please. Then they shared them in a publishing party where they got to read each other's work, and we learned how to give productive and constructive feedback to elevate all of us as writers. So that is all about narrative writing.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm going to talk next. I'm Kim Fisher, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the type of writing students love the most. Evidence-based writing. Yes. Joking, they do not like evidence-based writing at all. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about evidence-based writing, and then we'll talk a little bit about academic vocabulary. We do a couple different types of evidence-based writing, and so what evidence-based writing means is students make a claim about something, and then they have to go and find evidence to support that claim. We start with a basic, kind of in the beginning of the year, review of 5th grade, how to write a basic paragraph, make a claim, give me some details to support that claim, and close it out. From there, we go in and we start doing a response to literature. So what that means is they'll read some kind of literature. It might be one of the books they're reading in reading, or it might also be just a small story that we do in our class. From there, a teacher will give a prompt. The prompt may be something like, what is the theme of this story? Students then have to make a claim about that, so they make a decision on what the theme is. Then they have to go and actually bring me textual evidence to support that idea. We ask them to do it in MLA style, so they're learning how to actually bring evidence in the way a college student would be doing it in a paper. And then we ask them to think about that evidence and how it supports their claim and write about that. And that's probably the hardest part for 6th graders. And so it's constantly trying to get them to think about what it is about the evidence that supports your claim. And so we're doing that multiple times throughout the year. We do it once with a response to literature, and then we go and we start doing a little bit of informational writing. So at this point, they're not reading fiction, they're reading things like articles, news articles, things that are happening. Last year I did for informational for them to learn how to pull out information. We read about zoos, and then from there we actually did an argumentative writing. Are zoos detrimental or beneficial? And they had to pick a side, so they had to make a decision which one they thought based on what they had read. And they had to go and get information from more than one source. And I'd ask them to get it from articles, maybe get it from videos, and then they had to support their thinking, their claim, their side with that evidence. And then again, how does your thinking prove that? How can you tell me that that piece of evidence actually supports your claim, your side? And so we do that at the end of the year. We assess that grade-wide with something called the PBA. It's a performance-based assessment. And so we ask them, we give them materials, we ask them to read it, we ask them to take a side, and then they have to actually write it all on their own to see if they actually learned what we taught them. I want to talk a little bit about academic vocabulary. This is a new focus for us last year and this year. And school-wide, we are working on really honing in on how academic vocabulary helps students learn. Studies have showed that students that use academic vocabulary on a regular basis are going to do better in school. And so we're really working to make sure that every subject is really looking at academic vocabulary. You can see I have some sentence frames all over the room. we're focused not just on do you know the meaning of the word. We're focused on do you know how to use it? And do you know how to talk about it in an academic manner? And so we're teaching students how not just to turn and talk and have free time to talk, but to have very focused routines around this idea of academic vocabulary. And how do we share our information? How do we share our thinking? And so it touches on all these things: reading, writing, speaking out loud, speaking to a group, listening to what your partner says, and being able to kind of say that again. And with that, you're getting this repetitive routine where they're learning the academic vocabulary more thoroughly, and they're also learning how to express in academic ways when it's time to like stand up and do a presentation type thing. That's what I have for academic vocabulary. And my section, I'm going to pass it off to Gail.
Thanks for coming, everyone. My name is Gail Brazier, and I teach English language arts and reading. And what's cool about, I don't know if you guys went to the PE Explorer presentation yet, but you learn about our A and B day rotation. And because we have this A-B rotation with PE and Explorer, we are able to provide one full class period for our 6th graders for reading. 7th grade, 8th grade, and all through high school, it's combined. English language arts will include writing and reading in one period, but in 6th grade at Buchser, we're able to have a separate reading class, and it's their last year that they're able to have that focused reading class. So that's something unique and cool. You all know, I think, about iReady. If your elementary students are using iReady, we also use iReady here at Buchser. And what I love about that, it's like going to the doctor. It's like you get your own individual medicine. The program will adjust based on the student's needs and work in real time. We require about 45 minutes a week for iReady here. And other reading, most of our reading, probably 50% of our reading is sharing these whole class novels. Some of the most popular ones are here, and I have some others along the board there. Right now we're starting The Breadwinner, and then when my class is done, we'll pass those on to another reading class. And as we're reading those whole class novels, we have content to discuss where we can look at some of the common things that authors will put in their stories to make us stop and take note and notice something. And in talking about some of these signposts, for example, when an author has a character ask tough questions, we want to ask ourselves, what does this question make me wonder about? And in thinking about the answer to that question, we might be talking about theme or internal conflict or one of the other literary elements. We also focus on literature circles where students will have a choice of different books. Sometimes there's spin-off to books that students are interested in reading. So we give them an opportunity to choose what books. Independent reading, Newsella articles and informational text, and things like that. So that's reading.
Great, thank you, Gail. We're going to pass it now to Luella.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ms. Morania. I'm the resource specialist, or one of the resource specialists here at Buchser, and I teach reading intervention. So the purpose of this class is to mainly bridge the gap, whether it's decoding, fluency, or comprehension in reading. And the goal is hopefully when we are able to bridge these gaps that they'll be able to join our regular ed classes in 7th or 8th grade. So we have this instructional model where we start with the whole group, and the whole group instructions focuses on comprehension and text analysis. So we do a lot of the things that all my colleagues said, but in a slower paced, shorter version, and at our students' reading level. We also have the instructional technology, which is our student application part, where this is an adaptive tech, where mostly focusing on decoding and fluency. We have the independent reading that focuses on comprehension, being able to answer those literal and higher level questions.
And now we have arrived to our final passing period.
Give us one more minute.
And then the small group instruction is focused. It's an intensive one-on-one or 2 to 3 students in a small group, and we focus on decoding and writing. So that is our program.
Thank you so much. You guys, if you have any